Hey fam, it's me, Imara Jones. Welcome to the TransLash podcast, the show where we talk about news, politics, and culture from a trans perspective. But more importantly, welcome to our holiday show, which today will be emphasizing two stories which are not only joyful but practical, giving you some last-minute holiday ideas. And who doesn't need those? But before we get to that, I wanted to let you know how over the moon I am that the TransLash podcast was featured in this year's Spotify Wrap, which highlights the best shows of 2020. Thank you, Spotify, for lifting us up and honoring our work. And thank you to all of our listeners who helped us get here. Your positive reviews and love on social media really helps get the word out and elevates our show. So please keep sending us that love. We might even share it here on the show, like that of Kristen Parisi, or at Chris10 Parisi on Twitter, who said, quote, "If you're looking to get some more education on the trans community, I recommend TransLash, a podcast with the incredible at Imara Jones," close quote. Kristen, thank you for sharing that and sharing your thoughts. And no, we didn't pay her to say the word incredible. That tweet just somehow landed in our timeline. Now, on to the heart of our program. I've been thinking about all the small trans and non-binary owned businesses and creators making fabulous products and at the same time supporting our communities in powerful ways. And they can use your support this season. Less than 1% of all small business owners are LGBTQ+, with a tiny fraction of that trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming owners. That's why for today's episode, I wanted to lift up these creators and show their incredible work. Today, you'll be hearing from Madin Lopez, the founder of a nonprofit giving support to homeless and housing insecure LGBTQ+ youth called ProjectQ. They're also innovating in the hair care space and recently started selling hair products of their own.
After cycles of violence have been placed upon us, I want to create cycles of success.
Plus, I sit down with Sandimirova, who creates jewelry for people of all genders and started the radically inclusive company, Automic Gold.
For me, the goal of the business, not to make more money, but to build happy and safe community around my work.
Listeners, you know that we normally start each episode with Trans Joy, but in the spirit of the holiday season, both of these segments are joyful, so there's no need to spotlight that separately. With that, let's get started and bring some joy to the world. One of the incredible organizations we're highlighting today is ProjectQ. The nonprofit recently launched a line of new hair care products called Project Curls, specifically designed for curly-haired people of all genders, like me, so that we can have the ProjectQ hair experience right at home. And all of the proceeds go to the ProjectQ Barber School to help train a new generation of trauma-informed barbers. So be sure to check them out. But ProjectQ is about so much more than hair products. It was started by Madin Lopez to support homeless and housing insecure LGBTQ youth by providing free, gender-affirming haircuts. And it's such a vital service for many queer and trans people. Hair is such an important form of self-expression that can help us feel more like ourselves and affirmed in our gender. ProjectQ also provides mentorship, educational workshops, gender-affirming clothing, food, and other resources for LGBTQ youth. Madin, I'm so thrilled to be talking with you today about ProjectQ and Project Curls and all the important work that you are doing.
Thank you, Imara. I'm really glad to be here.
I wanted to first ask you about ProjectQ. How did you come to land on the idea that focusing on providing haircuts to LGBTQ people with people who are trauma-informed is a really important service that wasn't being met and that you decided to meet it? How did you come to that?
Well, I think that if you are any type of gender variant or POC, and then the intersection that you've been at, you've had that moment where you're sitting in the chair and you're just like, I don't think this person sees me. I don't feel seen by this person. Or they see me, but I don't think they know how to cut Black hair. I don't think that they know what to do with curls or with any type of texture. And so starting ProjectQ was really for myself. I think that we do that a lot as movement space creators. We're just trying to find a place for ourselves first. And that's what I did. So I started ProjectQ after I'd been doing hair for about 8 or 9 years, I believe. And then now it's been 17 years of doing hair and about 8 years of doing ProjectQ. So it's been really nice to have a space that I made for me. And then, as they say, once you do that for yourself, then you're just making room for more people like you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've seen your pictures and I don't believe that you've done anything for 20 years. But hey, that's just great jeans and great haircut and great lighting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you can share with us an experience that you might have had in a chair where you realize that the person wasn't recognizing you fully as who you are and how that impacted you.
Yeah. I mean, first I want to just speak to the vast majority of humankind and how they, like the misogynoir of our hair, of like Black hair in general. When I was really young, I wanted to wear my hair natural. I think my dad started to relax my hair by the time I was in second grade. And for folks that don't know, if you have tight, kinky, curly, textured hair, when it's relaxed with sodium hydroxide, which is one of like the strongest chemicals known to our industry, what they're doing is they're taking away this part of you that's connected to your roots, to your ancestors, and making it more acceptable for white society. And so a large part of what I wanted within having my curly hair as a young person was wanting to have this connection to my roots, right? But I was told by family members that I did not look pretty with my natural hair, that you shouldn't do that. No, that's not pretty. And so what that was saying to a very young Black mind was, you're not good enough the way that you just wake up in the morning. Your natural person is not good enough. And so translating that into, okay, well, I'll get relaxers, right? And then I'll start to make my hair blonde and I'll do all of these things. And then going into this gender space of understanding who the rest of me is beyond my hair texture and how I get to express that through my hair, like literally sitting in chairs of stylists that are like, I see you, I understand you, I think that you're great, but I don't know how to cut Black hair because that's not really hair. Right? Like it's not. That's what I've been told before. So it's what's wild to me is that at that intersection, it didn't matter if somebody saw me for my Blackness sitting in Black salons and then, being ignored for my gender identity, misgendered, dead named, right? And then the opposite end of that of like having my identity respected, but like not having the knowledge of how to work with my hair texture. So that's really where I wanted to kind of create a movement and some space for folks that have both of those identities.
Yeah. And I know, for instance, so many transmasculine people that I know who that experience of being able to go and get a haircut can be so fraught when you walk into a barbershop and the barbershop is the barbershop, which can often be a misogynistic place. Or the same is true for trans women, having to pick between these two ideals. Maybe the place is accepting, but they don't know how to deal with your hair. Maybe they know how to deal with your hair, but they're not accepting, is a really fraught space. And as you say, hair is so tied to our identity that it can be devastating when you don't go to a place that can figure out how to connect who you are with your hair and vice versa.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things that's really interesting is Project Curls. And I looked at all the products. They looked amazing. And it's so interesting because social justice organizations often are looking for a way to innovate, to get outside of the idea of cultivating donors or donations. And you came up with this really innovative idea to sell hair products. That's connected to your brand. That's connected to what the organization is about. How did you decide to do that? That's like a pretty good hustle.
Well, I feel like I've definitely been groomed for this.
In quotes.
In quotes. Ooh, I didn't even do that on purpose. It just came out naturally. But I worked for a hair product line. That was one of my first jobs straight out of school when I was about 16. And so I did research and development with them. I did education. I was a salesperson. I did their shipping. Like I had been at every single level of their company, as well as learning from the stylists that created the product and figuring out how it worked best in hair. The thing is that, I love them to death still to this day, but they were focusing on white hair. They weren't focusing on Black textures, and then also seeing product lines that were made for Black hair that I loved being taken off of the shelves because it didn't sell for white community. All of that to be said that queer folks come in all different textures. We really do. So I bought myself a starter kit to start to sample out different products and different ingredients that were going to work for Black hair. And here we are a year later. I'm on my third wave of packaging. We've sold over 100 shipments, which means it's about 200 products sold.
It was clearly the right move because it's such an innovation to sell a product that meets the needs on so many different levels. Like your product is still core to your mission. It is a social justice initiative in and of itself. And the fact that it earns income on top of it is really something for, I think, everyone to think about in terms of how we're funding ourselves and how we are making social justice movements, especially in LGBTQ groups that are vastly underfunded, for there to be thought about innovations like yours. What have you gotten from your experience? We have a sense of what you've given, right? Thinking about self-esteem, thinking about the whole person, thinking about making all the people that you have contact with look good, look great, selling products. But what have you as a person, Madin, gotten from your experience with ProjectQ, from doing it?
Oy. Okay, you hitting the hard-hitting questions, huh? Personally, I would say that I've gotten to see myself represented, within the people that we service, but also within myself. A large part of what ProjectQ is that we want to show the youth that we service that they can be anything when they come get their haircuts. They get a haircut in exchange for their attention with a self-esteem building workshop. And what that does is it shows this youth like, oh, you're in coding, you're trans, I'm trans, I can be in coding. Oh, you're Black and you're an engineer, I guess I can be an engineer too because I see you. And so what it's taught me on the back end of that is that I get to take up the same amount of space that I'm offering. Being a queer AFAB, like POC, like specifically Black POC, we're not taught that. We're not taught to take up space or that we deserve space or that we're worthy of it. It meant that when the salon got closed down for the third time now, and a lot of my contemporaries are closing up their spaces, I'm on the other end of that, hiring on new people to help me with these other programs. I feel blessed, and I'm not a religious person, but I do feel blessed.
Within that, all of the space that you're talking about and that you're creating, what is your dream for ProjectQ?
I have so many dreams. A large part of our most immediate dream is obviously to create more trauma-informed queer barbers of color. We only hire queer folks of color. Our entire board is queer people of color, except for one specific person. And really, the hope is to pass it on. And so that's a large part of what's happening right now is how can we create as many programs and job development experiences so that my 2 assistants that I have, I can get them assistance. Right. And then continue to hire more queer folks of color. The person that works with me on Project Curls, her name's Jessica Jean. She's a trans woman of color now working with me by my side, helping me with my programs. I want her to now have her own person that comes and helps her. Like after cycles of violence have been placed upon us, I want to create cycles of success.
And lastly, I'm wondering, what's your favorite hair product? What's your favorite Project Curl product?
Out of what I made?
Yeah.
I love them all so much. It's got to be the curl cream. Like, that was my catalyst, was creating a cream that worked for curl patterns 2B to 4C. So that took a lot of time and energy. So yeah, I've got to say that's my favorite one. I haven't tried any product that's quite like it. And so I feel like that's the golden child right there.
Right. And it's for the tightest curl pattern, right? That's what you were describing when you went into your technicalese. Those are the tightest curl patterns, listeners. So if you have tight curl patterns or know those who do, that's the product for you. Well, Madin, thank you so much for everything that you do and have done, and the way in which you connect and create space for others, and also for yourself through figuring out how to link our identities with how we're able to present ourselves and how we are expressing ourselves through our hair, which is so important as human beings. I really appreciate it.
I also really appreciate you. Thank you for this platform and for inviting me.
Of course. That was Madin Lopez, the founder and executive director of ProjectQ. You can learn more about ProjectQ and find the new Project Curls hair care products at projectq.me. And next up on our special holiday podcast, we're talking about jewelry, which of course is a popular gift around this time of the year. Jewelry can sometimes be tricky for trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people. Either the sizes are too big or too small for the type of jewelry you want, or the pieces are made with the gender binary in mind, with either, quote, masculine or, quote, feminine ideas in mind. That's where Automic Gold comes in. It's a company with quite a story. It was founded by Sandimirova, who came to the US in 2009 as an LGBTQ plus refugee. Sandimirova says that they then started the company, quote, out of survival, close quote, originally selling pieces that they made for eBay. Now, Automic Gold is a growing brand well beyond eBay, which makes pieces intended for everyone, putting racial representation at the heart of what they do. Automic Gold also uses reclaimed gold, putting gender inclusivity as well in every single piece. That's why I'm thrilled to talk to Al today. Al, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Imara. I cannot pay you for this intro, and you write it down for me. This is the best introduction ever.
Sure thing. We're a full-service operation. Happy to do it.
Couldn't say better myself. Wow.
That warms my heart. I want you to feel welcome and seen and heard in all of the ways that you are, so that brings me joy. So, the thing that's interesting about the company that you've created that makes beautiful things is that it started out of tremendous difficulty. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's one that a lot of LGBTQ plus people, specifically trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming people, can relate to. Mm-hmm. You came to the country in 2009 as an LGBTQ plus refugee. I don't know if we do that anymore, but once upon a time we did. From, a region of what is now Russia. And I'm wondering if you can just talk to us about the difficulty that pushed you here. What happened to make you come to the United States?
Basically, the family and the place where I'm from, it's very not accepting of LGBTQ plus people. So I had some bad accidents, both with my family, and I've been outed. So it's been some accidents with the outside of the community. So my life been threatened, and I had no choice but to run outside of the country. And I choose New York specifically as the safe haven.
How did you turn to the idea of working with golds and putting it on eBay as a means for survival? Do you remember when you came up with that idea?
Yes, I've been working illegally in a refinery, of gold refinery, and my boss wasn't treating me well because I wasn't documented. Low pay, sexual harassment. So I really didn't want to stay there. And when I tried to find another job, I didn't speak English at the time. So I had no choice but to start my own thing.
No, the reason why I asked that question is because I think that one of the things about your story is that you just kept transforming the thing that was right in front of you into the next step. Right. And a lot of times people want to figure out how to start their own businesses, particularly people who are trans or non-binary, gender non-conforming, because of all the reasons that we know, right? All of the things that you experienced in your life are the reason why people leave. Harassment on the job, threats, that you couldn't leave, you couldn't find anything better, all of the things, but get stuck or paralyzed thinking that they need to find one big idea, but you just kept transforming the thing that you were doing into the next step. And I just think that's a really important example for entrepreneurs, So you started out on eBay. eBay clearly was a cracking success. And then you decided to not only sell jewelry, but to sell jewelry in a completely different way, right? To make a brand that was gender inclusive, where the sizes of things worked for people. So let's just say, for example, if you wanted a piece that was more on the masculine side, in quotes, but you had a smaller hand because maybe that's not the gender you were assigned at birth, you make the sizes for that. You decided to make a brand that was inclusive racially as well. And those are choices that are not made by jewelry companies. I think anyone turns on television or opens a magazine or goes online, those aren't the choices of jewelry companies. And I'm wondering what motivated you to think, you know what, I'm going to do this differently.
Yeah. So as I was selling on eBay, I didn't enjoy wearing any single piece myself. The masculine jewelry would be like very thick and the feminine jewelry would be like too feminine for me. And I'm like, I have 1,000 pieces of jewelry in stock and I can't wear a single one. But I love jewelry. Let me go to school and make my own jewelry. So I went to jewelry school. And for me, this is the mindset. If the jewelry is good, it will sell. I don't need a brand name around it. My friend bought for Hanukkah 15 pairs of earrings. And she said to me, oh, you don't have a brand? Why don't you have a brand? I'm like, why I need to have a brand? She's like, ugh. She was shocked, obviously. And I'm like, okay, Americans need a brand to buy it. They can just send a link to the good product. Okay. Okay, time to make some more money. So yeah, read the book, read online classes, how to start a brand. I'm lucky to be in New York and see all the representation of sizes, colors, and genders. And I never been the one shopping like in K jewelers. So I never need to transfer the toxic mindset to my brand. So I guess why it's so easy to me, because I'm surrounded to people like that. And it comes to me naturally. It's never was a question to like do men's and women's categories. I'm like, no, it doesn't exist to me or to my community. No, so I'm not going to do it. Why would I do it?
Yeah, I want to be honest about something, and this is going to maybe sound strange to people. I hope not. I think that they'll understand. I mean, one of the things that can happen specifically with luxury brands is that they want to not have a broad racial representation, right? Because the idea is that these brands are aspirational and that in America, aspirational upward mobility is still associated with whiteness, and brands have very much embraced that, specifically jewelry brands, for a really long time.
Even high-end jewelry. Chanel just had the first black model headlining this century.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, all high-end brands, yeah.
But you didn't go that route, and I'm wondering why you didn't go that route.
I guess because for me, the goal of the business, not to make more money, but to build happy and safe community around my work. For me, work is, as far as for the most of the people, 2/3 of the life. You spend 8 hours a day with your community of coworkers. This is more time we spend with our family and loved ones. I don't want to take investments from anybody. I do want to sell more and be successful just to show everybody big fuck you, but I don't want to do it to be on a yacht or to be with the 20 Chanel bags. So what all my coworkers are happy And I can buy them donut and they can buy me Chanel perfume as a gift, which they did last week. It's so nice. They bought me perfume as a gift. Like, yeah, I want to pay you good money so you can buy me like this expensive perfume. It's so nice. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to misuse it and just sit on a ton of money myself. Yeah. So the goal is never was just to make more money, but to make happy life for myself and people around me. This is my goal. This is what I want to do.
Wow. It's really powerful. I'm
shocked when it's powerful to people. Why not everybody wants that?
Because that's not what a capitalist society tells you. You know, the capitalist society tells you that. For me, what struck me when you were talking is that for you, what's most valuable about the gold isn't the gold itself. It's the values that you put in the gold that allows you to live out the values in a much larger way, right?
Yeah.
But for most people, the gold is the value and it's transactional and it's about the money. And that's what our economy is built on. And it tells people that values aren't important. Money is the thing that's most important. And whatever you got to do to make the most money, then that's what you do. But you made a very conscious decision to not do that because your values are fundamentally different. And I think that's why it's a surprise, because you are succeeding in this environment, even though the way that you are succeeding is not supposed to be.
I see. Yeah.
I think that's why it's shocking. You have said that there's so many ways in which you feel conflicted being a non-binary business person, because there are times in which you are, even now, misgendered when talking to people, understanding that the way that your gender is perceived is a determinant in whether or not people want to work with you, and sometimes having to make choices even now about, well, wait, do I correct them on my gender identity? Do I tell them this? Do I tell them that? Because it may impact my business. Again, I think this is a dynamic that a lot of our listeners can relate to. And I'm just wondering if you can just talk about that a little bit.
If with somebody I want to buy gold, for example, big supplier, sometimes I don't fix them right away or fix in more friendly, jokingly matter, or just don't tell them, because survival at the end of the day and making good for my company is more important than this person who I talked only once or twice, respecting my gender. So I gotta make, choices. At the end of the day, I'm a business owner. I'm live in a good apartment. I have good food. So I'm fine with it. Yeah, whatever. But at the end of the day, I think safety and mental safety is the most important.
And then you've also said the same thing. I also think this is an important thing for people to hear. You've also said it as well about, the times that you decide to take the money, right? You're ultimately, I've got to find a way to survive, right? That me surviving as the person that I am in the society is the victory. And sometimes that means, it's okay to take the money.
Yeah. So for me right now, because I have employees, it's very clear boundary. If I want to buy a good deal of the pre-owned gold and the person doesn't respect my pronouns, but it's going to benefit the 10 employees I have, I'm I don't care. Call me girl. It's okay. Just give me a good deal on this gold.
I'm wondering, so you started out Automic Gold with the idea of survival in mind. Then you went from survival to creating your brand, because as you said, Americans can't buy anything without a brand, which is shady but true. And now, the company has reached a size where you have many employees. It's growing, it's established. You're out of survival mode. When you think about the future, when you think about the future of Automic Gold, let's say 10, 15 years from now, what do you want it to be?
Oh, I have so many dreams. But realistically, in 10 to 15 years, my dream is to take the niche on the market where I have cute little stores across America or in every mall. Because right now, jewelers will sell hollow gold or silver with garbage diamonds. I want people to come in any size, and I want to have it in stock. I want LGBT couple to have regarding of style, so they can buy engagement or wedding rings, where it's not just, oh, you a girl, you get a diamond, or you a boy, you get a band. I'm so excited to design engagement ring collection next year. Yeah, so I'm all about that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being so open about your journey and about your struggles and ultimately your triumphs and what motivates you. I was thrilled to learn about Automic Gold. Now everyone knows where to go when you need an engagement ring. You heard there's a whole collection coming out next year, so be sure to check them out. And I'm just so glad, again, to know you, to know about your company, and to thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
That was Sandimirova, the owner of Automic Gold, a trans-owned fine jewelry brand. You can see their selection online at atomicgold.com. And atomic starts with an AU, like the chemical symbol for gold on the periodic table for all you science nerds. Again, that's AUTOMIC gold.com. Thank you for joining me on the TransLash podcast. Now, listen all the way through to the end of the show for something extra. I'm Imara Jones. If you enjoyed today's show and are looking for other trans-owned businesses to support this holiday season, TransLash is highlighting even more creators in our monthly WNYC program, Lives at Stake. You can live stream that the same day as this episode, December 17th, or find it online afterwards. You also can visit translash.org and click on our Shop Trans for the Holidays link, where we list even more trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming small businesses. Please go to Apple Podcasts to rate and review our show. That really helps us out. You can find TransLash on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on the web at translash.org to sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TransLash Media, like us on Facebook, and tell your friends. The TransLash podcast is produced by TransLash Media by Futuro Studios. The TransLash team includes Oliver Ash Klein, Montana Thomas, Tyler Wilson, Ruby Fazinski, and Yannick Ike Mirko. And the Futuro Studios team includes Nicole Rothwell, Jess Alvarenga, Stephanie LeBeau, Julia Caruso, Leah Shaw, Elishiba Itu, Rosana Caban, and Gabriela Baez. Our digital strategy is handled by Daniela Capistrano with support from Agency of Joy. The music you heard was composed by Ben Draghi and also courtesy of ZZK Records. Hey, TransLash fam, what I'm looking forward to this week is the launch of my new website, imarajones.com. Go to imarajones.com. We've been working on it forever. So excited for you to see the photos there that were taken by the amazing Richie Shazam. And you can also see all of the other people that are behind some of the looks that I have, like Busayo, this fashion brand that keeps a Nigerian textile making process alive that's ancient there, style the clothes. So there's so many reasons to go there. Go to imarajones.com, look at all of the things there, sign up for our newsletter, because we're going to have an Imara Jones newsletter too. So that's what I'm excited about. Thanks for listening.